Hey team, it is Friday the 24th of April. Let's get that date in your book in your neatest handwriting. Make sure that your capital letters stand tall and they're touching the line and there's no joins going into it, so that Friday's standing tall on the line and all of the other letters are sitting beautifully on the line. That Y comes underneath. Your A stands on the line, your P, the tail goes underneath beautifully, and your L is nice and tall, as is your D. And your capital F, your D, your capital A, and your L are all the same tall letters. Let's make sure whatever we're producing, we're doing it to the best of our ability, and it is gorgeous. There is no point doing something unless we're doing it bob on, is there? So let's make that look gorgeous, make this page look beautiful. So what are we looking at today? And we're going to be doing some more monstering and the frog. Let's see what they're up to. We're going to have a look at some core skills, making sure that we're on the right core skills activity. Our maths today is making pictograms, and we want you to get creative. It doesn't need to just be written down in your book, and I will talk about that in a moment. We're going to look at grammar. And our English, we're going to be getting busy with that non-chronological report. And then you've got your connected curriculum menu choice also. So let's dive into our reading then, guys. So I'd like you to have a read of your questions first. Don't forget those questions. If you know them, if you've taken them in and you're conscious of what it is that you're looking for in the piece, you're more likely to remember and understand what it is you've read. So have a read of your questions. When you feel like you know what the questions are asking you, go and have a read of your text. Come back to your first question. Read your question again. Go back to the text. What piece of text answers that? Underline it so you know that, yes, I've got my answer from there. And then do the second with your second question. Do the same again with your second question. Have a read of your question. Go back to the piece. Read the piece. Where am I going to pick up that information from? Back to your question and find your answer. Now remember, for most of you who haven't got a printout of this and you don't need to, you can write their answer in full sentences. So what could your full sentence question look like? Your full sentence answer look like? So the question is, what could frogs see on the horizon? So I want you to think about, what might your answer look like? The question is, what could frogs see on the horizon? We're talking about what frog could frog see on the horizon? It would be frog could see what? And then you fill in the blank. What on the horizon? Then you've got to find and copy one word which tells you that Monster was not feeling well in the boat. So what kind of sentence might you write to be able to answer that question? Find and copy one word which tells you that Monster was not feeling well in the boat. What is this question focusing on? It's focusing on who? Monster. So it's focusing on Monster, and what's the problem? Monster was not feeling well. Good. So let's have a look at what our sentence could look like. Frog could see this on the horizon. The one word that tells me that Monster isn't feeling well is this. So I would like you to read your questions, read the text, go back to your questions and answer it using full sentence stems, please. Pause the video here and get answering your questions, guys. Good job. Okay, so we're back. You have read your questions, you have read your text, you've gone back to your questions, you've underlined where you think it is. So the key words, what's our key word in the first question? What could frogs see on the horizon? So that word horizon there, isn't it? So if you look over at the red underline, we found that in the text, and I hope you managed to too. So that's going to be our clue here. And then we've got find and copy one word which tells you that Monster was not feeling well in the boat. So we're thinking about, could see on the horizon, not feeling well. So they're the two things that we're going to be really scouring and having a look for while we read the text. So off we go. Where are we going? Monster asked nervously. Didn't read that right, did I? I didn't sound nervous at all. Let's try again. Where are we going? Monster asked nervously. Oh, to the island, said Frog, pointing toward a tiny spot on the horizon. It's a long way, said Monster. I don't think I like boats. Monster was beginning to feel seasick. So we've read our question. We've gone back to the text. Now let's go back to the question because we know Frog and the horizon. What could he see? And we've got 4 options. A boat, an island, the sun, a beach. So which one of those could Frog see on the horizon? Find the sentence with the word horizon in. Go back to the beginning of that sentence which starts with to that. Which one of it is it? And then the second question, find a copy one word which tells you that the monster was not feeling well in the boat. The key word there is to feel. The verb is to feel. So we're going to have a look in the text and we can see the word feel there. So go back to the beginning of that sentence. Monster was, what was the problem? Okay, so have a double check of your answers. And then let's take a look. So, what could Frog see on the horizon? Frog could see an island on the horizon. It should be your sentence. It should be a nice full sentence that starts with a capital letter, that has finger spaces, that ends with a full stop, and the spelling is bob on. Find and copy one word which tells you the monster was not feeling well. So the sentence says, monster was beginning to feel seasick. So the one word, monster was not feeling well, the one word that tells you that monster was not feeling well in the boat is seasick. How did you do? If you got one wrong, where did you go wrong? And can you see where you went and where we've got to? As long as you can see that, then you're learning, and that's brilliant. Well done, guys. Core skills. Make your way to the TT Rockstars website. If you're having any problems logging on, we can see who's logging on and who's activating their TT Rockstar logins. And if anybody's having any difficulties, drop us an email and we can sort out your logins and make sure that you're able to access your TT Rockstars so that we can make sure that our timetable, because you're all doing amazingly well with your core skills in school. We want to keep up that hard work and that good momentum that we've got going. Keep going with your times table Rockstars, guys. And maths. Now we're going to be having a look at pictograms where one picture can mean lots of different numbers. What was it that we were looking at yesterday? So we were looking at pictures that represented, think about that tally chart, how many down sticks and then the gate going across. We were looking at pictures that were a representation of that. How many was it representing? It was representing 5. Yeah, that's right. So each picture represented 5. Now today we're going to be having a look at where pictures can represent different amounts, so it doesn't necessarily need to be 1 or 5. So we're going to be having a look at some in between. Let's get busy. Let's have a look at these. Did they go up by the same amount? So if we have a look over at the first one, what are we looking at? Down at the bottom, it's a bit tricky to see, but it says blackbird, robin, sparrow, thrush, magpie. What are those? Anybody know? I'm not all that familiar with birds, but I bet you know. Oh, I said it out loud, didn't I? What a wally. I was going to say, I bet you know what a robin is. It's a type of bird. Yeah, so over on the left-hand side, we're looking at different kinds of birds, and you can see how many blackbirds are there. If you count how many rectangles there are, there's 1, 2, 3, there's 4 rectangles for the blackbird. So are there 4 blackbirds? Is that right? Has Mrs. Upton got that right? 4 blackbirds. Well, there's 4 rectangles. So that's 4 blackbirds, right? Hang on. I haven't looked at the key, have I? What does the key say underneath? It says that 1 rectangle equals what? 1 rectangle equals 5 birds, doesn't it? So there isn't 4 blackbirds. There's actually 4 groups of 5 in each group because each rectangle equals 5. So there's 4 5s, which are 20. Excellent. So we've got 20 blackbirds and then we've got 1 robin. Yeah? 1 robin, is that right? Oh, Mrs. Upton, come on. 1 rectangle equals what? 5, Mrs. Upton. So there's 5 robins because there's only 1 rectangle. 1 rectangle equals 5. Okay, I think I'm getting there. So sparrows, there are 3 rectangles, which equals 5, 10, 15 birds. Excellent. No thrushes. Can't get that wrong because there's 0. And there's 2 rectangles for magpies. Each rectangle is 5 birds. So there's 10 magpies. Okay, got it. Now let's have a look here next to it. There's a sport one. So how many triangles? So football, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triangles. Now it's not going to trick me this time. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 25 children like football. Is that right? Oh, wait. Oh, look. Next to it, there's a key again. It's a different key. What does each triangle mean on that key? Each triangle equals 2 children. So if I look at football, each one of those triangles is 2 children. So for football, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 children like football. And for tennis, there are 2 triangles. So that's 2, 4. So that's 4 children. Okay, basketball, there's 3 triangles, and each triangle is 2 children. So that's 2, 4, 6. Right, I'm getting the hang of this. This is good. Hockey, 2, 4, 6. Oh. Half a child. Because there's half a triangle. Is that it? How can we work out what half a triangle means? 1, 2 is the first triangle. 3, 4 is the second triangle. 5, 6 is the third triangle. Oh, wait. So half a triangle will just mean how many children? Just 1. It's almost like a child in each half of the triangle, isn't it? So swimming, there's only 1 half of a triangle. So how many children like swimming as their favourite sport? Just 1. Just 1. Now, we need to figure out how many more sparrows there are. Look, tongue twister. We need to calculate how many more sparrows there are than robins. So let's have a look at how many sparrows. Let's have a look at how many robins. I want you to think about what calculation you could do to show me how many more sparrows there are than robins. Okay, so pause the video here and have a think about what calculations, what number sentences that you could write. So sentences using numbers, not words. What calculations or number sentences that you could write to show me how many more sparrows there are than robins. So you're going to be using numbers and addition, subtraction, divide or multiply and equals. What calculation? So pause here and have a think. So if we have a look, the number of sparrows is 15. So the way we got to that was 3 times 5 equals 15 because there are 3 rectangles and each one is worth 5. The robins, there's 1 rectangle which gives us 5 birds. So 1 times 5 equals 5. So to be able to find the difference between the sparrows and the robins, we take the number of robins, 5, away from the number of sparrows, which is 15, which leaves us with 10. How did you do? If you didn't get it correct, where did you go wrong? Can you work back through your calculation to spot which bit you found tricky? Can you correct it? If you can, that's the best way of learning. So have a look, pause the video, make sure you've got your calculation correct. Okay, so our next question, we're going to be focusing on what is the total number of birds. So how are we going to find out how many birds there are in total? How are you going to organise your thinking so that it makes sense on a page? You're not going to get confused because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different birds to consider. How are you going to organise your workings out on your page so that you're able to tell me what the total for the blackbirds and the robin and the sparrow and the thrush, which is easy, and the magpie, how are you going to work out how many individually, and then how are you going to figure out how many all together? So I want you to pause the video here, and I want you to think about how you can list or organise how many of each bird there is to figure out what the total number of birds there are altogether. So pause the video here and have a go at working out. We'll come back together with the answer. So the way that we've organised it, we made a list and showing what it equals by doing a rundown of how many rectangles there are, which is times by 5 each time. So the blackbird equals, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 times 5, which equals 20. The robin, there's one group, there's one rectangle, so one group of 5, which is 5. The sparrows, there are 3 groups, there are 3 rectangles of 5, which equals 15. The thrush, if you multiply anything by 0, the answer is always 0. And the magpie, there are 2 groups of 5, which equals 10. So then how many altogether? What do we always want to do with maths? We always want to try and find the easy maths. Okay, so what easy maths could you figure out? We could break down the numbers, couldn't we? So we've got 20 plus 5 plus 15 plus 10. What makes maths easy? When we're splitting up tens and ones. So think about how many tens have you got? Can you drag apart any number? So have a look at 20. Well, that's quite a nice number. It's tens by itself. 5's a nice number. It's ones by itself. Okay, 15. How could we change 15 to make adding up easier for us? We could drag it apart, can't we? How many tens and ones are in 15? How many tens are there? There's 1 10. And how many ones are there? 5 ones. Okay, so we could have a 10 plus a 5, and then we've got a 0 plus 0, and then we've got another 10 at the end. So you could switch it around like on the right hand side like Mrs. Mullen has done. She's done 20 plus 10 plus 10 plus 5 plus 5. So altogether we have 50 birds. Okay, did you get the answer right? If you didn't, can you spot the mistake? Be a detective, go back, figure out and go, yes, it was there. I found you, you little monkey. Have I got it now? Yes, because finding our mistakes is how we learn. Okay, guys, so. Oh, I've just found this here we go. This is going to make life easier, isn't it? Oh, high tech or what? I do remember being shown this now. What a wally. Okay, we're all learning here. Every day's a school day, guys. Excellent. Rubber as well. Is there a rubber? Gotta be a rubber. Is that the rubber? Ooh. Is that a rubber? Oh. Boom. Guys, this is exciting. Okay. Yes. Okay. Use the pictogram to decide if the statements are true or false. So give this pictogram give this pictogram a real good think about. Think about all the clues that we need to look for. If I counted that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I said to you that there are 6 pigs, animal number on the farm, 6 pigs, would I be correct? Why? Why not? You've got to think about the whole picture. The whole picture. Okay, so what is that pictogram telling us? Then we've got to have a look over here. Horses were the least popular animal. Is that true or is that false? Now, guys, I am happy here for you just to do some shouting out. I don't think you need to write this down. I think we can have a look at it together. So, horses. What animal do I need to go to? The clue is here. It's like doing our guided reading again, isn't it? Horses. So, I'm going to be going over here to the horses. Horses were the least popular animal. What does it mean if something is least popular? If you're having sweets and sharing them with your mum, and you have the least amount of sweets, who has the most? Who's the happiest? Yeah, good job, Mum. I'm pretty sure you deserve the sweets at the moment. Oh dear, craziness, crazy times. The least popular is the same concept. So the person with the least sweets, the least popular is the animal with the least. So is the horse, does that have the least? Okay. So make a decision. Say it out loud so you can't change your mind. Let's have a look at the next one. The number of chickens seen was half the number of the cows seen. So let's have a look at the cows. How many cows are there? And of course, if you look down here, you've told me that there are, each star is worth how many animals? 10. This is a big farm. Look how many cows they've got. How many cows have they got? Let's count. They've got, each one is 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 cows. What? And the number of chickens was half the number of cows. So what animal do we need to go to now? Chickens. So we've got 10, 20, 30. What did this one mean? So it's half of a shape. So half of 5, isn't it? Okay. So have a think about that. The number of chickens seen was half the number of cows. So did those numbers add up to half? Have to have a look. Shout out your answer when you think you've got it. It might be that you need to have a little pause here to make sure that you're certain you can go through some of the numbers again. The total amount of pigs and sheep is 70. So you're going to have to go to your pigs, count your pigs, and you're going to go to your sheep, count your sheep, and see if the answer is 70. Then you're going to have a look at the cows on the farm. There were 8 cows on the farm. Is that right? 8 cows on the farm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stars. So 8 cows on the farm. How do you feel about that? There are 10 fewer chickens than sheep. So again, you're going to have a look at your chickens and at your sheep. Are there 10 fewer chickens than sheep? That one wants to catch you out. Okay, so pause it here. Go back and have a good look over those numbers. Okay, so here we go. How do your answers look? So it's true the horses were the least popular animal, only 10. The number of chickens was half the number of cows. That's false. The number of pigs and sheep equals 70. What does it equal? So the number of pigs, here they are. Oh, let me get a highlighter. Here we go, here we go. Should we go? Let's go purple, guys. So the number of pigs, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I'm going to pop it in there. I'm going to pop my 60 there. 60, so I don't forget. Number of pigs and number of sheep, 10, 20, 30, 40. How many is that? 40. 5. Does that equal 70? Doesn't, does it? What does it equal? Let's do some easy maths. Let's drag this apart. 60 and 40. So you know what 6 and 4 equals. Number 1, 2. That's right, number 1 to 10. So 6 and 4 equals 10. And then add your 5 on. Actually, we need to add our zeros first, don't we? So it's 60 and 40, and we add our zeros, so it equals 100. And then we've got to add our little 5 on here, so it equals 100 and 5. So definitely false. There were 8 cows on the farm. Well, there's definitely 8 stars, isn't there? But what do we know? We're looking at our cue, we're looking around, we're being detective. We know each one equals 10. So it isn't 8, it's 80. And there are fewer chickens than sheep. 10 fewer. So there's 45 sheep and 10, 20, 35 chickens. And the difference between our chickens at 35 and our sheep at 45 is 10. So that's true. Did you get them correct? Did you miss one out? Did you get one incorrect? Guys, don't just go, well, I got it right, or oh, I got it wrong. The learning happens in those mistakes. If you got it incorrect, brilliant. Look at the gaps. Where did you make that misconception? Study it, figure it out. It will be in your brain way deeper than if you'd got it right first time. So have a look for your mistakes. Where did you get it wrong? Get it in your brain and be like, oh yeah, because I forgot that each star was 10 animals, so I thought it was just 8. Or, oh, I didn't add up correctly, so of course that I've got it equals 100, and then I've got to add my 5 on whatever area it was that you got that misconception. Find it, correct it. Good job, guys. Final one, Jack and Whitney, because I'm saving all my love for you. That will be lost on so many of you. Whitney, do you know Whitney? Ask your mum. Ask your mum, ask your dad, ask your grown up. They'll know. So, Jack and Whitney. You can see there's a pictogram here. Let's look at all the information that we can. So we've got a van, a bus, a bike, a lorry, a car, and what is that key telling us? Jack says, if I add the number of lorries and the number of bikes together, then it will be equal to the number of cars. Is he right? Okay, let's figure that out. Let's have a look at what Jack's saying. Let's have a look at Whitney first. And Whitney says, to find the total number of vehicles, I need to count the symbols, and there are 16.5 vehicles. Oh, Whitney, I don't think you've been listening, love. Have you? Ay. What do we need to tell Whitney? She's saying there's 16.5, so she's saying there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.5. She's saying there are 16.5 vehicles because there are 16.5. What do we need to tell Whitney? We need to tell, come on, Whitney, babes. It's 10 vehicles. Each one of those equals 10 vehicles. So there aren't 16. What is there? So if you count them up, and there's 16, and there's 10, if you're multiplying something by 10, add your 0. There's 160 vehicles. Ooh, yeah. Now, Jack says, if I add the number of lorries and the number of bikes together, then it will be equal to the number of cars. Let's try it. So pause it here and have a think. Have a calculate of the number of lorries, the number of bikes, and if you add them together, if it equals the number of cars. So pause it here and let's figure it out. Guys, I was a wall and forgot that I needed to add my little 5, so 160. It's 165, isn't it? I forgot to add my half on here. Who spotted it? Who spotted it? Well done if you did. So there's 165 in total. Anyway, that is not what we need to be looking at right now. We need to be looking at the total number. No, if I add the number of lorries and the number of bikes together, then it will be equal to the number of cars. So, how many bikes do we have? We have 10, 20, 30 bikes. This is tricky writing on here. My writing does not usually look like this. And the lorry is 10, 20. So, how many altogether? 20 and 30 equals what? 20 and 30 equals 50. So we've got to add that extra bit. There's that extra one. So it doesn't just say how many lorries and bikes are there altogether. It asks, well, is that equal to the number of cars? So then how many is the number of cars? That's what we need to be figuring out, isn't it? So equal, is it equal to the number of cars? How many cars do we have? We have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So, who's right? Is it Jack or is it Whitney? Of course it's Jack. Good job, Jack. Jack is correct because there are 20 lorries and 30 bikes. That means that there are 50 lorries and bikes altogether, and this is the same number of cars. There are 50 cars. Whitney is incorrect, the noodle, because she didn't look at the key. That means there will be 165 cars, not 16.5, Whitney. Although Mrs. Upton nearly did get that there was 160. She forgot the little half, didn't she? Okay, guys, good job. If you got it incorrect, go back. Where did you make your mistake? Because the learning happens in that space where the mistakes are, and we love it. Okay, our grammar for today. You haven't got this sheet probably, so do a little title in your book and call it grammar. And I want you to have a look at which sentence is the odd one out. Okay, so let's read our sentences. I want you to pause it, have a read of the sentences first, then I'm going to come back and we're going to read them together. So have a pause here and read the sentences. Okay, good job, guys. So let's have a read. A, I jumped over the wall. B, Juan talked to the teacher. C, I cooked dinner with my mum. D, I see cows on the farm. Which sentence is the odd one out? And how would you rephrase it? Okay, so I want you to figure out which one of those sentences don't sound correct. Now we're thinking about past tense here. One of them is in the present tense while the others are in the past. So have a look which sentence isn't in the correct tense, and I want you to rewrite that sentence in the correct tense. So pause the video here and write me your sentence in your book under the title Grammar, please, guys. So let's have a look at what sentence I picked out. It was, I see the cows on the farm. The past tense for to see is saw. I saw the cows on the farm. And the explanation could look like to see is present tense and saw is the past tense we're looking for there. Now, our final challenge of the day is your English. Now, just remind me what type of text we're creating. What do we call it? We call it a non-chronological report. Good job. We are creating a non-chronological report. Now, you had your ideas from yesterday. I want you to think about how you want your text to look. So at the beginning of each page for this week, I've put a little picture to give you an example of what you might want it to look like. Now, next week, we're going to be doing another non-chronological report based on a different theme. We've kind of guided you through this one a little bit, giving you some examples to look at, and we're going to be replicating in that kind of context. Next week, you're going to be doing some research and having to think about doing your own non-chronological report. See this as kind of looking at an example and different examples and then using that example to do a replica almost. You can add your own bits. Please feel free to. Next week is where you're doing the real creativity. So have a think about what you've been learning this week about non-chronological reports and the beach text in particular. I want you to think about what you want it to look like. You could just do it in your book. That would be plain and simple, and you could definitely do that. You could do it on a sheet of paper. Have you got some coloured paper? Have you got an art book that you could do it in? You can do this in any way that you see fit. Use the ideas that you've seen this week to try and influence you. So pop a title at the top. Want to know about the beach? Question mark. I'm making sure I've got in a question there, and I've got a nice title that's going to be drawing my reader in. I'm engaging the reader straight from the beginning. If they want to know about the beach, they want to read this. So find what media you're going to use. Find what you're going to make it look like. You could do it on the computer if you've got an extra computer at home that mum and dad are happy and there's no brothers and sisters that need to do their learning. So I know it's crazy. However you want to do it, but get your title down first. Get that title at the top of your page and then we'll move forward together. So pause here while you get your title done. Now, underneath that title, you're going to write your introduction. So here's my introduction. This text is all about the beach. If you want to know more about beaches, then this is the non-chronological report that you need to read. Stop what you're doing, put down everything else, and let's get learning about beaches. So what I would like you to do underneath your title, I want at least one sentence, okay? If you can make up a few sentences into a group of If you can do a few sentences into a group and make a paragraph, then please feel free to do that. But I want at least one sentence telling your reader, who is me, you are just about to read a non-chronological report about the beach. Introduce it to me. Try and hook me in. Try and make me engaged. Try and make me want to read yours before I read anybody else's. So pause the video now and give me your introduction about your beach chronological report. Once you've done your title, once you've done your introduction, then you can get going with your non-chronological report. Here's what mine looked like. I did it on a blank piece of paper. So I've got my title. Want to know about the beach? Get my highlighter out again. Still liking this. Highlight and yellow. So we've got a title here. Want to know about the beach? And then this paragraph here is my introduction. If you want to know more about beaches, then you've come to the right place. Full stop. Keep reading. Dun, dun, dun. So I've got a couple of sentences there. That's enough to get me engaged. Okay, and then I've got my first paragraph. So I've got my subheading here, and I've got a question subheading. What is a beach? A beach is, and then I realised, and I went back, a beach is almost always found next to salt water, because it isn't always, so I had to go back and edit that. But remember, in year 2, you get extra points for being able to recognise those things and going back and editing, so it's a good thing. It is always next to the water. Excuse me. Some beaches are sand and some are pebbles. And then my next title is things to do at the beach. There are lots of fun things to do at the beach. Grown-ups enjoy relaxing and staying still. If you're a kid and you want to have fun, you could try these games, and that leads nicely into my top 5 beach games, which you can see down here. I've got another subheading here, and I've got my top 5 beach games. Number 1, of course, my favourite is rounders. Grab yourself a bat and hit your ball as far as you can. Number 2 is sandcastle building. 3, crabbing. Love crabbing. Number 4, burying dad's toes. Number 5, splashing mummy with water, although I would be livid, hate being splashed. They're the top 5 beach games. I've got a little image here. So I draw myself a little image with a little, can you remember what it's called when we do some information underneath? It begins with the caption. So we've got a caption underneath. This is me at the beach having a relax. Here I am on my sun lounger, and I've got the sea kind of there and a little boat that I'm looking at. And then I'm giving you some facts that I found this week through the research that we've done with Ms. Mulliner's group. Work on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday about popular beaches. There are over 200 beaches in the UK. Some of them are sand, like Paynton Beach. That's one of the beaches I always used to go to when I was little. And some are stone, like the beach in Llandudno. Has anybody been to Llandudno, where they've got the big pier that goes out and it's got a big stone beach? Loads of big stones on there. That's another cool beach, isn't there? There's a Great Orme on the left-hand side. So I want to know about the kind of beaches that you've been to. So your challenge is to do a non-chronological report all about the beach. Make it brilliant, guys. Make me engaged and want to go, I want to know more. Where have they been? Where is this beach? What? Good luck, guys, and good job. And don't forget, we've got ceasing menu for you to have a little pick at. Remember, this should be fun and enjoyable. Don't make it too onerous and too tricky for yourself. This should be fun, and you should be excited to be showing us that you're learning. So keep it light, guys, and keep safe, and I will see you next week. Thanks, guys.